I'm Mason Gray here with SixSigmaTV.net as a Bellingham Technical College student representing for Fisheries and Aquaculture Sciences. We are here today to talk about Governor Inslee's executive order, his third goal, sustainable energy and a clean environment. We're going to talk to the community about what they think is the best way the governor can help his people and how we can help him.
Locally here in the Nooksack, water quality has always been a big issue. And at one time we cut the herds, the dairy herds down to try to deal with the manure issues that the land can't handle. And so we had a buyout, and then the conservation district here in Whatcom County got involved with working with the farmers, big and small, to develop farm plans that would be good for the farmer and good for clean water.
Yes.
It's a never-ending job. It's quite rewarding when after 20 years you go back and you look at one of your projects and you go, what did you accomplish here? And you look at it and say, okay, now the stream is covered with canopy. And we're providing shade. Plus all the offshoots of that, the insects that fall into the water column and feed the fish, you know. The message I always promote is that if you have a water resource, whether it's a wetland, a stream, or a river, you need to not build next to it. And don't drain those wetlands. Those wetlands are extremely important for filtering water. And storing water. If we don't protect our resources, you know, we're going to lose our identity here, especially in Whatcom County. And so clearly environmental science and natural resource management should be clearly taught in the classrooms, especially in our rural our rural areas here, you know.
We are here at Bellingham, Washington's annual Seafood Waterfront Festival. We are here gathering the community's perspective on how to reach Governor Inslee's third sustainable goal of sustainable energy and a clean environment.
My background is in salmon habitat restoration, and I think the best thing that Governor Inslee could really do is make sure that funding is going to the correct sources and is funding the projects that we need to be working on to restore wild salmon populations. I've worked on habitat restoration in the Entiat River for the last few years, and those projects have been stalled because funding to the Salmon Recovery Funding Board has been almost completely shut down in the last year. So I think his initiatives are a great first step, but we're going to need a lot of follow-through from him to make sure that those projects are effective.
So unlike Sarah, I'm not actually from the Washington area. I am a transplant as of 3 weeks ago. I'm originally from the East Coast, and a lot of my salmon research was actually done in Europe and Eastern Canada. And what I see there is something that we can do here is really promoting the removal of things that prevent salmon from moving upstream. So that's either removing dams or modifying them to allow fish passage. And so I think tagging on to what Sarah is saying is that if we can promote fish movement and migration, we can then expand the habitat that they're using, and then we can restore it in a proper and sustainable way. So use money to help move fish around.
This is an example of clean water and how our ecosystem is important, specifically the shellfish, how they have the ability to clean algae out of our saltwater environment. And on this side, we started off with some algae-coated water. It's green, as you can see. And then in less than 2 hours, the oysters here, which are filter feeders, and oysters and mussels and clams are all filter feeders. And that's just part of the environment, the ecosystem. And this is why it's important for sustainable harvest. Part of our booth here, for instance, we've got our microscope set up, and we're showing the kids how barnacles feed. And there's so many kids that are utilizing the microscope, they never saw a microscope before. So this is just part of our science programs that we need to build on in our schools. And they're just fascinated when they're able to look at a barnacle just filtering the water there and grabbing algae and plankton and all.
So one of the biggest issues we have with the environment here in this area in the Pacific Northwest is our southern resident orcas. They're a very endangered population of orcas consisting of 3 pods, J, K, and L. They are fish-eating orcas and they rely on salmon. And about 80% of their diet is Chinook salmon. And as you may know, Chinook salmon are also endangered. So they're just not finding enough food. So these orcas are starving. And one of the other things that's happening is they have found that almost 70% of the females are having miscarriages due to lack of food. So we have not had a surviving baby in this population for 2 years. Before that, there was what they called a big baby boom where there were 10 orcas born and we're down to 5 of those. So the population is really struggling. Historically, there used to be 150 to 200 of them and now we are down to 76. So this population really needs help and we really need to restore the salmon first and foremost.
Our organization, Washington Sea Grant, is based at the University of Washington, and everything we do is based on science, and we really support the research to protect water quality and the sustainability of our water environment. So everything the governor can do for protecting the water quality protects our salmon, our aquaculture industries, our fishermen, and we support those communities in our work day in and day out. So for me personally, it would mean everything for him to focus on water quality.
Water quality.
Yeah.